All right, so I think it's time for a Cleveland Cavaliers check-in video, I guess. Impressive win tonight, admittedly against a Damian Lillard-less Milwaukee Bucks team, but I feel like after they started 15-0, one of the best starts to a regular season in NBA history, they lose to the Celtics, and the last couple weeks, I mean, they lost twice to the Hawks. A couple of things have happened. The teams are just, people just aren't talking about them quite as much, and I think they should be talked about more. I get that Cleveland isn't a massive market. With the exception of when LeBron was there, of course. But this is really, really impressive stuff, y'all. I mean, these numbers are incredible. And we're getting to the point, we're a third of the way through the season. The sample size is pretty big. And they are looking just truly dominant. I mean, in all honesty, the numbers say this is the best team in the sport. Are they the best team in the sport? Well, I think that's an argument, but they're definitely top three. I mean, they are an incredible team playing elite level basketball this season for a variety of reasons, and I want to talk about why that is in this video. Before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I upload every single day, multiple NBA videos a day, trying to get to 2,000 subscribers on this channel. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. Let's discuss. So yes, Damian Lillard, yes, less Milwaukee Bucks tonight hurts that team, but they were up pretty close to 30 at the end of the third quarter. I didn't watch this game, but impressive win nonetheless, 100%. And I mean, it's another very well-rounded scoring performance, which is becoming very common for the Cavs. It's kind of their methodology to victory this season. Donovan Mitchell has 27, but then you get 13 off the bench from Ty Jerome efficiently. You get Dean Wade with 15 efficient points. Evan Mobley has a 15-point performance, nothing too crazy, but again, solid. Jared Allen with 10 points, 10 rebounds. Darius Garland with 16, 4, and 5. Like, just a really well-rounded performance in low minutes by a very, very good Cleveland Cavaliers team, as Archer wants to say hi. But point being, I do think that there is a lot to like about this Cavs team, and it starts, honestly, with Kenny Atkinson. He has really done a great job this season of transforming this team. When you look at the numbers, one thing that I find very interesting, yes, their most played lineups have Jared Allen, Evan Mobley in them together, but I think Kenny Atkinson has done a really good job of staggering these lineups as well this season, and they have a lot of really effective lineups that have played a pretty significant chunk of time that is only one of Mobley or Allen. And so I will say, number one, we'll get to stats in a second, but Evan Mobley's increased ability to space the floor has been a big deal this year. I think he's definitely been encouraged to shoot more threes, and he's shooting them at a higher level this year as well, which is very important for the success of their two big lineups. But they have lineups like this, Donovan, Karras, Sam Merrill, George Niang, Evan Mobley lineup that have played 148 possessions together, and they're like one of the best lineups in the entire league this year. 37.5 points better than average, or better than their opponents in per 100 possessions. Like, really impressive stuff. Another non-Allen and Mobley lineup. Another one here. This one does have them, but another, just one big lineup. One big lineup here. 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 And you can scroll down. They have a lot of these lineups that, admittedly, there's a ton of role players on the Cavs, so these aren't lineups that are playing ridiculous amounts of possessions together. But they clearly are able to stagger their bigs and do so, and stagger their guards as well, in all honesty, and do so in a level that maintains a very high level of performance. There's no real massive drop-off to this team when Donovan Mitchell isn't playing versus Darius Garland, versus Evan Mobley, versus Jared Allen. There's a really nice variety to this team, I feel like. And yes, Jared Allen and Darius Garland's numbers together aren't quite as good as Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Like, the on-off numbers favor the Donovan Mitchell-Evan Mobley pairing a little bit, but overall, they're getting really good performance from a wide variety of guys, and they have a lot of lineup versatility that they can go to with the double bigs, which is a really, really high level defensive lineup, of course, but then with these single bigs to space the floor, especially with Mobley on the court, then you can basically go 5 out when Mobley's playing the 5. And the most valuable thing that has allowed them to do that is the impressive contribution of multiple role players this season. I mean, Caris LeVert having an awesome year. He's leading the team in on-off numbers this season. George Niang is second as well. Both those guys having really solid seasons. A lineup of guys who, I mean, Caris LeVert shooting 49% from 3. He's having a ridiculous year efficiency-wise, best year of his career by a decent chunk. Dean Wade is a good shooter who's not shooting the ball great this year, but he also hasn't played a ton. He's been healthy as of late, but he hasn't shot the 3 ball very well, but we know he's a good shooter. Isaac Okoro, who has never been a great shooter, is now shooting the crap out of the ball, almost 50% from 3 himself. George Niang, we know he's a good shooter. He's only shooting 36%. Same thing with Sam Merrill, in all honesty, not shooting great from what you would expect from him as a shooter as well. But it's a lineup with a lot of versatility, a lot of spacing, a lot of shooters, especially when you get a guy like Okoro playing as well as he has this year. Ty Jerome has been a massive find for this team. He was my most improved player pick through the first few weeks of the season, has definitely fallen off a bit, but still a guy who gives you a secondary ball handler come off the bench and be a shot creator. I mean, he is not a liability. He's got almost a 3-to-1 turnover assist to turnover ratio, averaging 10 and almost 11 a game on 54%, 45% from three. Like, that's really, really good stuff. And the depth and versatility of this roster, in addition to the top end guys that they have, is such a big deal. And like I said, Evan Mobley shooting the three ball at a high level this series at over 2 attempts a game at 41%. Those are significant career bests. And that's the type of stuff, the development of his game, number one, that I think is very important for his ascension as a star, but also it creates more viability to these two big lineups that they're running with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And that's big because those lineups are key to them being an elite defense. And they're an elite defense and an elite offense. I mean, when you look at the numbers, they have the best offensive rating in the league, and we're about to look at some more offensive numbers that are just incredibly impressive. But defensively, they're really good on that end of the court as well. 7th best defensive rating in the league. When you look at net rating, they have the 2nd best net rating in basketball after the Thunder. I mean, their numbers across the board are really, really impressive. And when you look at the efficiency numbers, they get more impressive. Best effective field goal percentage in the league by over a percentage point. That's impressive. By the way, 2.5 points to 3rd place in effective field goal percentage. 2-point field goal percentage, tops in the league by a percentage point and a half. Again, ridiculous. 3-point percentage, same story. Tops in the league, not by quite as much, but they are the most efficient team in every single way that you look at scoring pretty much this season. And that is insanely impressive. I mean, you just don't see a team that is the best offense in the league at everything, even among the best offenses in basketball. It's rare to see that, and it's very impressive from a team that these last couple of years, I mean, the Cavs have been good, right? But they've never been really serious contenders. They lost in kind of embarrassing fashion to the Knicks 2 years ago. Last year, they make it out of round one just barely against an upstart Magic team, which, I mean, the Magic are good, right? But they weren't as good as they are this year last year. And then weren't really all that competitive in the second round. Like, in all honesty, the Cavs have been kind of just there in the Eastern Conference playoff picture the last couple of years. They are no longer just there in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And I think that has become obvious, right? Like, I'm not saying anything y'all don't know when I say that, but it's not being talked about enough. The fact that they're 2.5 games up on the 1 seed, didn't see that coming. I really thought that even with the 15-0 start, they were going to kind of start to slip a little bit and fall off a bit, and the Celtics would overtake them for that 1 seed. I wouldn't be shocked if they wind up with home court advantage throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs, and that might be a very big deal for this team. I think the 1 seed should be a serious goal for this team, because home court advantage against Boston in a potential conference finals playoff series is going to be a big deal. And they've already built a big gap over the rest of the East. 6.5 games to New York, 7.5 to the Magic, who again are without Paulo for a little bit longer and without Franz for a while. 9 games to the Bucks, who have been very good as of late, but again, impressive win by Cleveland tonight. Yes, Dame wasn't playing, but still, you beat one of the better teams in the East by a landslide in an impressive, efficient, pretty dominant performance. This is a serious championship contending basketball team. And while I think when I say that, people are like, yeah, for sure. I don't know if that's gotten through to people's brains entirely yet because of the smaller market, because of the less media attention. I don't know if people are giving the Cavs quite the due that they should be, but this team is really, really good. And if you are not considering them as a serious threat to win an NBA championship this year, you are just looking at things wrong, because every single number says that this team is absolutely top tier. So I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I will be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.